a big celebration at the White House, or there was rather, because there's this movie coming out about flaming hot Cheetos, the how they were created. So they had a screening of this film at the White House. So they're pretty excited. They're like, I guess this is a, Hispanic based film and about the American dream, minorities and such. And so President Joe Biden, First Lady Joe Biden are hosting a movie screening of Flamin' Hot on the White House South Lawn tonight, featuring director Eva Longoria. And so, and they have a mariachi band, and of course Cheetos, and so, having fun, very big deal. And it's already obviously happened because there's pictures. Some people were saying that Biden groped her, but I didn't. I mean, they slowed it down. Maybe he grazed her, but um, I wouldn't call it a groping. I mean, he's definitely done weirder things to women, so just want to put that out there because that's the rumorville. So when I first saw the commercial for the film, I didn't really like it because I thought it was a little too goofy. And because when I had first heard this inspiring story, I was just on Twitter and someone was telling the story in a really great manner. They just talked about this, how there was this janitor who working for a company. They didn't say the name of the company, and they said, they talked about the humble beginnings and how they had dropped out of high school, or dropped out of school very young, and was working, and it was always taught to just, do your best and you'll be able to succeed, etc. So he treated those floors like they were his floors and was this amazing janitor. And then one day the head of the company gave a speech about, treat everything like you own it. And so he decided to take some initiative, and he realized they didn't really have spicy kind of food and stuff. So he got some Mexican spices and some of their product that they had, and called up, actually just directly called up the CEO of the company and wanted a meeting. And so he made his own little bags and went in the meeting and pitched flaming hot Cheetos, and they loved it. And he ended up going big in the company, and of course it became the big phenomenon that it is today. And so they didn't reveal that it was flaming hot Cheetos till like midway through the Twitter stream. And so, like, even how they were telling the story, it was like riveting. And so it was inspiring, it was exciting. So I told it to my siblings, and they're like, oh my gosh. When they got to the hot Cheeto part, I I went to church and I read this thread because it was so inspiring. It was so inspiring. Um, so when I saw the trailer, I was like, I would love if this actually wasn't really a comedy, because I feel that it's such an inspiring kind of story. Like, I know it's about hot Cheetos, but it is really like a great story about the American dream. And I think don't think it needs to like probably have this goofy tone that looks like it's gonna have. But I was today years old. Today years old. When I found out the story, like, is it true? It's not true. So um the man allegedly behind the hot Cheetos, it turns out it's not true. He didn't actually make hot Cheetos. So he did work for the company. He did rise up the ranks, though. I think when he had like a meeting, he wasn't really a janitor. He had worked his way up to like being a, a mechanic or something. And he, thought of new sort of ways to improve the factory, and they implemented it. And it's I believe that he actually did introduce like different kinds of foods to Frito-Lay, like a hot popcorn and stuff. There's other things he took credit for, tried to take credit for, that he didn't make, but um he didn't make hot Cheetos, so it's not something that came from him, from this California factory. Long story short, there are people from Frito-Lay who are working out of like the Chicago and Detroit market. So in my mind, I'm like, it's hood food, and it and they just observed that there's other hot kind of snack foods out in the market already, and people were really enjoying and that people really liked, and they were like, we have to get some kind of hot food out. And so a team came together and really, ended up producing it. But as far as like the name Flamin' Hot Cheeto, that there's a woman is responsible for that. So she this man ended up like telling the story, and I don't know why no one at Frito-Lay kind of like really said anything about it as he started to kind of tell the story a couple years ago.
How can that be profitable for Frito-Lay? These corporations, I don't know what they're doing.
One day the actual creator of Flamin' Hot Cheetos saw it on a blog, and so she wasn't with the company anymore. And so she reached out to the company, and so they started doing investigations and stuff, and nothing really made sense. The CEO who he claimed he heard, who inspired him, wasn't the CEO at the time when that story would have had to come together. And kind of his timetable of when he allegedly, claimed he came up with Hot Cheetos, it was already pretty much hitting the market, like test market. So it doesn't, by all accounts, doesn't seem to be true that the seasoning and the spices for Hot Cheetos, they got that from like McCormick, who's like doing their seasoning and stuff. There's a paper trail. So and they still largely use the same ingredients that they used back then when they got it from them. So it's amazing to me. Like there's a lot of movies not really based on true stories, or they're kind of inspired and then they get made into stuff and they, twist things. There's some stories that, that are, like a biography, and the story isn't really, up to snuff, and there's a couple things that are different, like Moneyball, stuff like that. There's things that are largely true, and there's elements, there are different characters, whatever, that they change. If you watch something like Greatest Showman, that's like totally like it just inspired off true events, not really based on true story. Though I love that movie, but this is a lie. Allegedly, I guess, from all the information that has come out from this report from Los Angeles Times. And so um I wonder why this has just kind of been able to evolve in the way that it is, in the way that it has. But he ended up leaving the company, I guess, to really pursue doing inspirational speaking, and to get anywhere from like, tens of thousands of dollars for telling his story at these different places, you know, but it's not true. And he has an inspiring story, working your way up from being a janitor to being a big wig at a big company like that. That's, that's no small feat. But I guess it doesn't have the same ring as I invented Hot Cheetos, Flaming Hot Cheetos, which is like a phenomenon. But it's not true. And he's taking credit for things that other people did. And the fact that it like evolved because of like a need that people saw in like the Detroit, Chicago market too. I'm just like, and I'm from Michigan. I'm like, I would be like in the Detroit market. So that's um it's a crazy story. It's a crazy story. So Richard Martinez has for years told a story of how he dreamed up Flamin' Hot Cheetos while working at Frito-Lay janitor. More than a dozen former employees. The archival record at Frito-Lay itself says otherwise. So it's an interesting read. I'm not gonna, you know, read the whole thing because it's kind of long, but yeah, he tells a story, and he's altered it a bit from when he like at one point in time, he started talking about this other executive that maybe he got the idea from, but then he redid his memoir, and or did his memoir, and it started reverting to the story that he was inspired by the CEO who couldn't have been there at the time where he was allegedly inspired to do all the events that happened. Um, so let me see if I can just get to the name of the, yeah, he gets anywhere from 10,000 to 50,000 per appearance for his speaking engagements. And he's got a memoir, which he's addressed like these rumors of the story not being true and him making it up. And he did a post or something and said just to people like, you have to write your story because there will be other people who try to change your story, negate your story, etc. And so it just seems like he's gaslighting. Now I don't doubt that there be a company and people within the company who want to hide a story, you know, to change the details and other people to get credit for stuff that they did or I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that that's possible. But they're just things that don't add up. Even like his he will say that he dropped out of school like in 4th grade or whatever. Um there's evidence that he at least went to high school, didn't maybe finish high school, but at least that's a different kind of timetable. And I know people can tell stories and they can get details wrong. Some My dad, he's told a lot of stories over the years, and sometimes when he's over the pulpit we're like correcting as he's telling stories. He doesn't, the older you get, the more you kind of don't remember things as well. But this is seems it's fabricated according to Los Angeles Times and the company and records from what they can find. So that's him right there. But none of the records show that Richard was involved in any capacity with Flamin' Hot Test Market, FritoLay wrote in a statement to the Times in response to questions about the internal investigation whose existence was not been previously disclosed. We have interviewed multiple personnel who were involved in the test market, and all of them indicate that Richard was not involved in any capacity in the test market. That doesn't mean we don't celebrate Richard, the statement continued, but the facts do not support the urban legend. Uh, Flamin' Hot Flamin' Hots were created by a team of hotshot snack food professionals starting in 1989 in the corporate offices of Frito-Lay's headquarters in Plano, Texas. The new product was designed to compete with spicy snacks sold in inner city mini marts in the Midwest. A junior employee with freshly minted MBA named Lynn Greenfield got the assignment to develop the brand, and she came up with Flamin' Hot name and shepherded the line into existence. So it's whatever they're going to do, whatever they made, whatever they released, whatever they premiered at the White House. It's not true. As far as what people have said who were involved at the time, from the records of Frito-Lay, again, the recipe has appeared to have come from McCormick, and they haven't really changed it much. He did work in the company. He did rise in the company. He did apparently, suggest things with Hispanic kind of elements, but the purpose of Hot Cheetos was to appeal to an inner city market from like areas in the Midwest where I'm from, which isn't a surprise to me because we do like hot snack foods. Like my mom loves better made potato chips. My dad joked, maybe not joked. He said the only thing that him and my mom argued about was the potato chips. They don't really argue, but she does like her better made bags. She'll get like a pack of like tiny bags and stuff, and we'll snack on them and stuff. But it's a good story. It's a good story. That's why I shared it. It's a good story. That's why I told it in church. I'm pretty sure I probably even read it on air to you guys at one point to talk about just the inspiration of the American dream, what you can accomplish. And another thing that's so annoying is that when the story was shared on Twitter, so many people were like, "Oh, you can't really rise like that. That's just like one story and etc." And it's like, why can't you guys just believe in like the American dream? And now the story is not even real. It's not even true. At least not the hot Cheeto part. Other parts about like a Hispanic man climbing up the corporate ladder. Yes, that is true. But why the lie? Why the lie? So, do you guys plan to see the movie? I don't know if I have the heart to watch this fiasco. That's just not true. Oh my gosh. So it's an interesting read. It's an interesting read for sure, but the story just doesn't add up at all. Um uh Someone said if the story existed, believe me, we would have heard about it. And they said this guy should run for office if he's that good at fooling everyone. He fooled a lot of people. He fooled a lot of people for sure. Um, but it says 6 of the former employees remember inspiration coming from the corner stores of Chicago and Detroit. One of the earliest newspapers articles about the product corroborates that detail. A Frito-Lay spokesperson told the Dallas Morning News in March of 1992 that our sales group in the northern United States asked for them. And Fred Lindsay, a retired Frito-Lay salesman from the South Side of Chicago, feels that he can be more specific. I'm the one that was responsible for getting us into Flamin' Hot products. In the late 80s, were cutthroat time in the corporate foodstuffs, and PepsiCo Incorporated, Frito-Lay's parent company, was fighting a market war on three fronts. In its restaurant division, Pizza Hut was clawing in its way into delivery to fend off Domino's, and Taco Bell resorted to free soda refills to undercut the competition. Thank you to Taco Bell for that. Pepsi's beverage business was locked in the decade-long cola war with its flashy CEO Roger Enrico pouring millions into ad deals with Michael Jackson and Madonna to peel people away from King Coke. Enrico is a CEO who he claimed, inspired him to um, make the Flamin' Hot Cheetos or take the initiative to do it, but the dates don't match up. Frito-Lay's battle was quieter, but just as brutal. The company had been in the reigning champion of salty snacks for decades, ever since Frito Company and H.W. Lay and Company had first merged, but Anheuser-Busch had come out swinging with its National Eagle Snacks line, and Frito-Lay was losing ground. Lindsay, for years, worked the sales beat in Chicago and the Great Lakes region, where he witnessed spicy products from regional competitors just blow off the shelf at corner stores and gas stations. So he started beating the drum for marketing department to gin up something. I was fighting mad to try and get hot stuff in the market, Lindsay said. And this is so funny to me because when I was born in '89, so it was Hot Cheetos was obviously a thing when I was a big thing by the time I was a kid. And I actually don't love Hot Cheetos myself, but we get out of school and we'd want to go to the corner store or something. Like there was a gas station that we would pass on the way home. My mom did not like us stopping any. First of all, they really probably shouldn't have let us walk all the way where we living from school all the way home. We did not ride the bus. We walked. Um, if I told you guys, you mostly wouldn't know where it was, but we probably we probably should have got picked up or took the bus or something. But she didn't want us to stop anywhere, but sometimes we would like go and the gas station or something. But or there was another store that we pass on the way home too. But there was a store that was like on the corner of where we lived, and so sometimes when we came home we'd ask mom or could we go down to the store and get a quarter bag of chips. A quarter bag of chips, which don't like exist anymore. Like I think the quarter bag of chips are smaller and they're definitely not a quarter. So our prices are so crazy. But I know if you're older than me, you're probably like, I remember we could get that stuff for a nickel. But I remember quarter bag of chips. But that hot, everybody loved Hot Cheetos. They're flying off the shelf and people liked the spicy stuff. Um so this being a big thing in like Metro Detroit areas or in Chicago and stuff at these corner stores, it makes so much sense to me. It makes so much sense to me. By the time he got promoted to corporate headquarters in Plano, he worked at the UDS business, shorthand for up and down the street, meaning any liquor store, sun-dry shop, or mini mart smaller than a grocery store. His idea had been taken up by the marketing department. The funny thing is, I heard maybe a year ago that some guy from California was taking credit for developing Hot Cheetos, which is crazy, Lindsay said. I'm not trying to take credit. I'm just trying to set the record straight. The assignment to create spicy competitor products landed in the inbox of Sharon Owens, a product manager in the single-serve group at the time. Unlike the mainline brands, Fritos, Doritos, Cheetos, and Lay's, whose managers were expected to serve as custodians of just one product, single serve was organized around a format individually wrapped products made for cramped mini marts and customers with just a few quarters to spend. That was me. Owens recalls that she assigned the project to a new employee, Greenfield. My gosh. Flamin' Hot was Greenfield's first project at the company when she started in the summer of 1989, fresh out of the MBA program at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill. Business degrees were practically required to get in the door at PepsiCo in those days, with rare exceptions made for people with BAs at Babson College, Enrico's alma mater. Miguel Lacuma, an MBA classmate of Greenfield's, joined the single serve team at the same time, working on beef sticks, sweet snacks, and other odd products that would sit in a mini mart register. I was on the cookie, Lacuna said, and Lynn Greenfield was on the small bag business. We go on a field marketing tour and bring home 50 different bags of chips that had never been seen in our lives. They say we're losing sales to this kind of product line right now, uh, Lacuna said. And so Flamin' Hots was actually, you could call it a flavor idea. Over the next few months, Greenfield went on market tours and small stores in Chicago, Detroit, and Houston to get a better feel for what customers craved. She worked with FritoLay's packaging and product design teams to come up with the right flavor mix and branding for the bags. She went with a chubby devil holding a Cheeto, Frito, or a chip on a pitchfork, depending on the bag's contents, she recalls a memory independently corroborated by newspaper archives. By the summer of 1990, the product entered its test market. Frito-Lay's trademark for the Flamin' Hot name lists that August as the month of the product made its debut. A trio of Flamin' Hot snacks, Fritos, Cheetos, and Lay's, hit small stores in Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, and Houston, according to the Dallas Morning News article and newspaper ads for the new products in those regions. Frito-Lay corroborated many of the details of this account, writing that as early as 1989, there were regional competitive spicy products on the market, including a spicy bright red potato chip from the Chicago snack company Jay's. In response, Frito-Lay launched a test market of spicy Lay's, Cheeto Fritos, and uh, Baconettes in Chicago, in Detroit and Houston beginning in August of 1990. The company wrote in a statement, Frito-Lay wrote that a product or flavor extension is the work of a number of people across functions as diverse as R&D, sales, and marketing, all of whom are proud of the products they helped create. An internal promotional video for the Cheetos brand from the first quarter of 1991 serves as further proof that Flamin' Hots were already out in the world. The nearly 9-minute video, which Lukasha shared with the Times, and is a day glow green and pink time capsule with Frito-Lay execs in fashionably baggy suits touting the latest and greatest snack aimed at kids, Cheetos Paws. At one point, two DDB Needham advertising executives perform a New Jack City era rap about the coolness of Chester himself. Flamin' Hots appear in the video for less than half a second, and rapid fire slideshow set to MC Hammer's You Can't Touch This alongside two other minor brands of the day, Cheetos Curls and Cheetos Light. The test market soon proved that Lindsay's insight was right and Greenfield's execution worked. Flamin' Hot Cheetos and Lay's rolled out across the country by early 1992 and would slowly grow to become a cult hit. Greenfield, now who goes by her married name, Lamel, said she's very proud of leading the team that put Flamin' Hots into the world and for coming up with the Flamin' Hot brand name. It is disappointing that 20 years later, someone who played no role in this project would begin to claim our experience as his own and then personally profit from it. It's a crazy story. It's a crazy story. Um, and here's what he said in his Instagram account. I don't care what room you're in, there's always somebody in the room that's going to try to steal your destiny. They may even say you never existed. I want you to do this. Write down your history because if you don't, somebody else will. Remember that. And also remember this, the best way to destroy a positive message is to destroy the messenger. Never allow that to happen to you. I'm certainly not going to allow it to happen to me. But the, the time just doesn't add up. So it goes, the story article goes in further about his timeline of events, how they just don't Basically they happened kind of after Hot Cheetos was kind of hitting the market, and again, the person that he claims inspired him to even like go and do act and stuff wasn't even the leading Frito-Lay at the time. So it doesn't add up, doesn't make sense at all in the least bit. And the again, these spices that they got is on record from not being from him. It's from McCormick, the like seasoning stuff company. So it's an interesting read if you want to read it. Los Angeles Times. It's not like behind a paywall or anything. So um how disappointing. Again, I I was like, this is such an inspiring story, and it's not even true.
Thank you for watching my video. Make sure you go to blacktnews.com and check out different articles, different videos, and also check out our merchandise. If you like what I do, you can also support at the website on the donate page. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and also that notification bell. God bless.